So, Mitt, on strategy, 2019 was one environment. Starting in March 2020, it was a very different environment. And now, probably right around now or a month or so ago, is a very different environment. How have you curated your strategy over that in real time and directionality? Where are you going?
Peter, I know in our conversations, we share this with each other. Every 10 years or so, something happens in our industry that you could never expect, right? And we use the word unprecedented in that conversation. And the ruble collapse in '98, that was unprecedented. Yeah. The dot-com bust of 2000, of course, the tremendous tragedy of 9/11 and the GFC. The financial sector will never be back again. Well, I think as we think about that, like how could it be worse? You dropped 9.2% RevPAR after the tragedy of 9/11, 18.6% after the GFC. Last year, U.S. RevPAR dropped 51.8%. Mm-hmm. And never before did hotels, face this dynamic of, do you keep them open or do you shut them down, based on the magnitude of this health crisis and this, the economic crisis that ensued. So I'll go back to your question with a couple of different points. In 2019, the concern really was that we were averaging 2% revenue per available room growth, similar to what GDP, over 98, plus percent correlation between real GDP and hotel demand over a 30 plus year period. I'm talking to an economist, so of course that number, right? And it always reverts back to the mean. And so, part of the concern was like, where's GDP going? Where's RevPAR going? And oh, by the way, like it's kind of hard in an operating environment to really create alpha, without really thinking about what the opportunities are in various different markets and like. So in 2019, we were trying to figure out the markets that we thought were going to grow higher than the U.S. macro, take costs out of the system, and kind of think about income as being an opportunity, in this sector. And fortunately for us, we had an opportunity in which to sell 2/3 of our portfolio in 2019. So the good news was that they were ready to sell. No crystal ball, but just hotels ready to sell. So our problems, as we found ourselves in March of last year, were smaller, but they were the same problems that others had. Now, they were better because there were select service extended stay hotels. You can make money at 50% occupancy, right? Because you only have 20, 25 full-time employees, but there's still real problems. You're still trying to figure out, what are the right pivot points to be the best fiduciary, to be the best human being, to take care of your people, and to think about the magnitude of this crisis and ensuring the fact you got a liquidity to deal with the next 2 years. Now, we all zero base our budgets in this business, like you should, right? And as we go through it, you say, what happens if you're up 5%? What happens if you're down 5%? What happens if you're down 10%? You're not talking about down 51.8%. And so as we think about like the time period that we were in, there was a lot of new conversations, and like others in the business, we'd have a 7:30 a.m. Zoom with our senior team, and then we'd have a 7:30 p.m. Zoom, right? We call it was the tale of two halves, and that allowed us to get through the day. And you have dinner with your family, right? Maybe go on a walk, and you come back and you kind of recap in terms of what's happened. And I think the power of great teams really manifested itself, as they always do during crisis, right? You know who you're in the trenches with, and you trust them, and you believe in them. And if you've got great teams, you figure your way out. And so when people ask me, like, what did you learn going through it? I said, I always start with, I learned that the people that I am fortunate in which to lead are truly the very best of the best. And with them, I'll go arm in arm, toe to toe, as we have for 28 years, and continue to fight, each and every day, for doing the things that really matter.